What up, y'all? It's your girl Taliah, and welcome back to my channel. So today's video is about our personal house buying process. You know, it's that time of year. It's March. People are putting up houses for sale. People are ready to become first-time home buyers or just buy a new home. And y'all know it's tax season, right? So I decided this was a good time to shoot this video and give you the details on our house buying process that we went through this time last year. So in June, it will be 1 year in our home. Thank you, Lord. So this video, like I said, is purely about our personal house buying process. We live in Middle Tennessee, so obviously it's gonna be different for somebody who lives in like Oregon. Or, you know, that's the first state I could think of. I don't know why I thought of Oregon. But, you know, it's crazy to me that people will get on social media or under people's videos or tweets or whatever the case may be and be like, oh, well, in my state, we live in two different states. Of course it's going to be different. So, with that being said, just to give you a little backstory first before I dive into the goods. So we stayed in our 1-bedroom, 1-bathroom apartment for 6 years. Yep, you heard it right. 6 years in the same apartment. And it wasn't on purpose. It was just time goes on. You know, Jonathan was moving up the ladder at work. And then he went into sales. And if you know anything about sales, it can be really, really, really good. Or it can be really, really crappy. And who knows throughout the year, right? So with that, it was like highs and lows in sales. So figuring that out, and then him climbing up the ladder at work. And then we had Micah. And then I'm like, oh, okay, well, we'll get a house next year or whatever. The first 6 months, he'll be in our room anyway. So all that's going on. And it's just life, you know. But we were still blessed that we had somewhere to live and we were able to pay our bills. And then also we were able to save while paying bills to buy our house. So everybody is not able to do that. I know there are a lot of people who are able to go back home for 6 months, a year, or whatever the case may be. If you have that opportunity, please take advantage. We didn't have that opportunity. We had to pay all of our bills on top of saving for our home. So before applying for a home loan, you need to figure out who is the point of contact for the loan officer. Are they calling you? Are they calling the husband or the wife? Figure out who is the point of contact. I was the point of contact because Jonathan's schedule is so crazy that we were just like, and you know what? I don't even think we told our loan officer. I think she tried to get in contact with Jonathan one time. And then she just immediately started calling me. And any type of questions, emails, or whatever, she would contact me. Whose credit or income you are going to be using. Whether it's both of you or one of you. Figure it out. Okay? We went with Jonathan only. I'm on the deed and stuff, of course, but he was the one who got the loan. And the reason why was because his credit was easier to fix than mine. I'm just going to keep it 100, okay? I mean, he was able to buy the house by himself. So when it was time to pay off debt and things like that, we strictly just were focusing on Jonathan's credit. You want to figure out what kind of loan you're wanting to use or get. If you qualify for any type of grants, first-time home buyers, programs, anything like that, you need to figure out the qualifications and include within those qualifications, what's the max income. So when we bought our home, we did not qualify for any type of programs, grants, nothing. Luckily, we were already saving, and we did save. Because if we wouldn't have, we would have been hit in the chest hard when the loan officer was like, you all don't qualify for anything. We would have been like, say what? Now we're going to have to wait a whole nother year. So look into those programs to see if you qualify and if there's a max income. And there usually is, depending on like how many people are going to be like moving in and stuff like that. So I know like first time home buyers, I just knew. I was like, yeah, we're going to be first time home buyers. So we're going to get this grant. We're going to get the $5,000. They're going to put it on our down payment. They were like, no, you make too much. I'm appalled. No, but double check that stuff, guys, like for real. You want to figure out who you are going to use as your mortgage lender, whether you're going to go with the mortgage company or the bank. We chose a mortgage company, and honestly, I don't even know why. I think it was one of those things where we could have went to the bank, but the bank in like my head deals with a lot of stuff. And the mortgage lender, like home loans and stuff like that, that's all they deal with. They ain't dealing with like bank accounts and stuff like that. So I think that's why we chose a mortgage lender. And we like typed it in Google in our area, and one particular one popped up with great reviews. So that's who we decided to go with. And they were really, really good. Like 5 out of 5. They were perfect. So after figuring out all those things, then you can apply. So there's obviously a difference between how much you're approved for and how much you're qualified for. And to be honest with you, I cannot freaking remember the difference between the two. All I know is when we were ready, we were ready. So we didn't call to just see, oh, how much do we qualify for? All I know is when we were ready to buy, we were ready to buy. When we applied for our home loan, we had to send in these documents: driver's license, social security card, the last 2 months of our bank statements, most recent pay stub, and the past 2-year tax returns. Because I don't think everybody has to do this, but because Jonathan's income is 25% or more than 25% commission, we had to send in the last 2 years of our tax returns, which y'all print them off or have them where you know where they're at. Okay, that's a part of adulting. Know where your tax return stuff is. I knew where ours was. I'm not saying that about us, but I'm saying, you know, you don't think about stuff like that. You're like, oh, I filed my taxes, and then whatever. Who knows where the documents are? Then you got to pay to recover them and stuff like that. Just go ahead and print them off. Then and there, put them in your filing box and just be done. So after we sent in all those documents, she was able to put everything in. And this question, y'all, I don't know. I guess it's really like this determines like how much money you make or something like that. But like regular people, not like the bank, but regular people are like, how much did you qualify for? It don't matter. Like literally, it doesn't matter how much you qualify for, because the real question is, how much are you willing to pay for that mortgage? And that determines on how much you qualify for. I don't know how much we qualified for, to be completely honest with you, because our mortgage lender or the loan officer, she asked us, how much are you willing to pay or want to pay for mortgage? That was the question she asked us. We gave her a number. We said we don't want to pay more than, I think it was more than $1,600 or $1,700 a month in our mortgage. And she said, okay, with that number, this is how much you qualify for. It was about $250,000. Now, could we have paid more than that? Could we have paid more than that? Sure. Did we want to? Hecky no. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't want to dig yourself in a hole now in your first home. Keep that in mind. So when we stayed in our apartment, we were paying $1,000 a month. Bought our house. We didn't want to pay more than $1,600, $1,700 a month. So like I said, that put us at $250. $250 and down is what we were looking at. We could have qualified for $400,000, but we weren't trying to pay a mortgage for a $400,000 home. You just got to be realistic with yourself. Be realistic with your finances. Be realistic. Like, y'all, they would have given us that house for $400,000, but would we have been able to go to Jamaica twice? Would we have been able to, go on vacations and enroll Micah in extracurricular activities? Would we have been able to buy all of our furniture and renovate our house? And just stuff like that. Like, you just got to be realistic with yourself. So, we said no more than $1,700 a month in mortgage, and then $250 is what we are looking at. Now, we didn't want to do new construction because that's not our thing. I don't want an HOA. I don't want you to tell me what I can and cannot do with my home that I purchased. So that's why we went with the house that we have. We live in an established neighborhood, which I love. Don't nobody bother you. Don't nobody do nothing. We literally live in, sorry, I was looking at Mike. He's playing outside. Anyway, we literally live in a neighborhood full of like older people. Now, we did come across one house. Well, there were a couple houses. One, we saw potential, and it had quite a bit of land. But no, I'm glad we didn't go with that one. And then the second one, we were actually putting in a bid on the house. Like, we were at Starbucks filling out the paperwork, and our realtor got a phone call, and they said somebody's coming in at a state to buy it flat out cash. Excuse me. So that was that. And then we came across another home on the opposite side of town, and it was completely renovated. It was an older home, but they had completely renovated the whole thing. But those hallways, y'all, and them bedrooms was like this big. And we actually had said we're going to put in a bid, and we canceled it. And I'm glad we did. And then we did a walkthrough of our current home. And Jonathan was pacing and looking. And I told our realtor, I was like, he likes it. And so we ended up here. And immediately, soon as we moved in, we started renovating because that's our thing. So, I mean, renovating houses is not for everybody, obviously. But then also, new construction homes aren't for everybody. So it's just whatever you like. You got to know what you like. And, but to get back to the details, we paid our own closing costs. We paid our own down payment. And the reason why we paid our own closing costs, everybody's looking for houses right now. You know what I'm saying? It's spring. It's warm outside. I didn't even want to chance it. We didn't want to chance it to have the sellers pay any type of closing costs. Because we ain't had time. It's, look, we paying our own closing costs. We paying our down payment. We good to go. Okay, so we bought our house for $234,900. Okay, they had did, I think, a $10,000 cut, if I'm not mistaken, because the house had came up, and we're just like, not for that price. And then Jonathan stumbled across it again, and we were like, okay, let's go check it out. They did $10,000 cut, and then we were like, yeah, we like it, or whatever. But in total, and this is another thing that I can't stand about people. Don't tell me everything I need to do and you not giving me no numbers. I want numbers. I want to know what's 3%. I want to know what's 3.5%. I want to know numbers, And I'm giving out this information because I want more people to give out numbers so you can be realistic. I mean, these people out here talking about, yeah, we spent $500,000 on our house. How much is your mortgage? And how much did you put down? I'm that person that wants to know numbers. Okay, so our total, when it was time to wire that money, was $13,600. It was at first about $15,000 and some change, but then it got knocked down once they did everything and like put everything in order. When it was time to wire the money, $13,600 is what we paid to get our home. Okay. And like I said, we paid closing costs and we paid our own down payment. And our house was $234,900. That's how much our house was. Everything, the whole house buying process, I think, how long did it last? Like a month and a half, I think. It might not even been a month and a half. It might have just been a month. It might have been a month and a half. I'll push it to a month and a half. The process was smooth as butter, y'all. It was so smooth. The people we got to do the inspections were great. And you have 10 days to do that, just FYI, if you're in Middle Tennessee. I'll say that. Is that boy on the side? Lord. Okay, anyway. But we did have one hiccup. The week before we closed, y'all, we were not about to get our house, like straight up. It wasn't nothing but the grace of God. Thank you. In all seriousness, we were not going to get our house. So our loan officer called and said, "Hey, we got an issue." I said, "Girl, what is it?" She said, "Something just hit y'all's credit." What you mean? Because I done paid everything the year before. Sat down, wrote everybody their checks, okay? We don't owe nobody no money. You know what I'm saying? And she said, "Something just hit from the hospital." What? Meanwhile, I'm like, I've already paid the hospital their money, okay? So I called the collection agency who was holding the hospital bill. Then I called the hospital, y'all. I said, "What's the problem? We never got a bill for this amount. Like, what is it?" She said, she gave me the address. I said, "Well, what address did you send it to?" She told me the address, and of course they didn't have the apartment number. So it never got to us. And just a little hint, if you are trying to buy a home, literally these collection agencies, like a red flag pops up if your name is in their system. And that's how they were able to hit our credit again and cause the issue. So what I can say is, if you are trying to buy a home or in the process of buying or ready to start, just don't go off of the bills you have that you're paying off. Call up your ER, the hospital, different places you've been in the past several years or whatever, and make sure that you don't have any bills just lingering. Because it hadn't hit it was like 2 years ago. It hadn't hit the collection, it didn't hit our credit at all yet. And then just miraculously, it hit while we're about to close that following Wednesday. It was like, wait, what? So that is a tip I can say I've never received from anybody when I've talked about people who have bought houses before. Call around and double check and make sure you don't have any bills lingering. Okay, because the company, if you have a bill lingering, will put you in contact with the collection agency. And you don't want that popping up as a red flag like it did to us. Because literally, the issue was y'all can pay an additional $2,500 to put towards your house, which we already paying $13,600, y'all. You know what I'm saying? And Jonathan was like, "We're not doing that. We're not putting in no more money." It was either that or they run your credit again. Now, with something hitting your credit, like a collection agency, for example, your score can drop 40 points. Okay? 40 points. And then now you're telling me you have to run our credit score again. Run our credit again, which is going to drop it down some more. Okay. If it fell under 640, you're not getting the house. Flat out. But don't y'all know? Yes. She called me back because Jonathan was like, tell her to run it. I said, okay. When I dropped to my knees, y'all, when I say I ain't never cried and prayed so hard for nothing in my life until that day, man, he came through. So our score never changed. So we were good. And then we closed on that following Wednesday. So that is our house buying process. And I hope I gave you some information that will help you with yours when you are ready. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, whatever, make sure you put them in the comment section below. And y'all have a great day, and I will see y'all in the next video. Bye.